The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
The Uganda National Museum, a place where unforgettable memories are created. Traditions are found and a connection to our Paul is reinforced. It is not only a testimony to the history of our nation, but also impacts knowledge of cultural and natural heritage to the present and future generations for their enjoyment. Through a variety of activities and exhibitions, we gather to discover our traditions and create new ones. The Uganda Museum is our country's cultural icon that makes it accessible for the next generations to come together as our story unfolds and represents the interplay of our country's past and present. It is in our history, but also in how it has evolved to embrace optical satisfaction and new influences. Our identity as a country is not only a moment in time, but also a journey of where we have been, where we are, and where we are going. We invite you to experience the authentic heritage, rich history of Uganda. Welcome to the Uganda National Museum.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digitalk.
Hi Rogers, can I ask you something?
Shoot.
What does corruption mean?
Well, summarily, corruption is abuse of public power for personal gain or for the benefit of a group to which one owes allegiance. For example, when a public office is abused by an official accepting or soliciting a bribe. By the way, private people can be corrupt too, like bribing police officers to escape fines.
Okay. So exactly how does that concern me?
Well, do you pay taxes?
I guess, yeah. What does that have to do with this?
Everything. Because those taxes you pay are supposed to facilitate services you use, like water, electricity, roads construction, medicines in hospitals, name it.
Okay, that is much bigger than I thought. But it can be stopped, right?
Well, yes it can, although it may not be as easy as it sounds. And here is the reason why. Corruption roots are grounded in our country's social, political, economic, bureaucratic traditions and policies.
So, what has kept it going this long? I mean, why don't we stop it?
Well, the main reason why it has been here for so long is because institutions are weak, either as a result of poorly defined ethical standards of public service, weak administrative and financial systems, or ineffective watchdog agencies.
What can we do to stop it?
At a national level, we must focus on strengthening the independence and effectiveness of public institutions that fight corruption. At a personal level, we must commit to never giving a bribe.
I promise I'll never give a bribe.
Well, that's a great decision you have made. Me and you now have to spread this message to all our friends. If we all do our part, corruption will be no more.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digitalk.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Well, you are live at the Alternative Digitalk TV on this 9th day of June. The year is 2025. Happy Heroes Day from us to you, and of course thank you so much for tuning in to yet another insightful episode of the Hotline Show. We're always here every Monday evening having 2 hours of information, of giving you what is happening in the country, and of course you being able to make an informed decision, and of course knowing what is happening across the country. And of course we have these conversations to build a better country, not for only us but also for the generations that are yet to come. As we speak right about now, President Museveni has honored a few countrymen, a few Ugandans as heroes as we celebrate this Heroes Day today. And of course many of those were gallant UPDF soldiers, some still serving, others have retired, but they have been commemorated and remembered as heroes today. And of course we are from the Eid festivities that were held last week, and of course many people and many Muslims across the globe always celebrate this particular day in remembrance and of course in commemoration of their particular faith and belief. So last week on Friday we actually had Eid right here in the country, and many people we continued to celebrate it. And we also, as Digitalk TV, would like to stand with those people who celebrated Eid Day and of course tell you happy Eid. Now in other news, the youth elections are gearing up as we are speaking. I think we have like 10 days to go. On the 19th the country is going to be going to the polls of this particular month. We're going to be voting the different youth leaders across the country. The National Unity Platform has started gearing up this particular campaign. I saw their president, Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, actually begin these particular celebrations. But of course the National Resistance Movement as well has been gearing up for those particular elections. Then also the president last week, the Fountain of Honor, was speaking to the nation in what he called the State of the Nation address. This is a particular annual address that is mandated constitutionally, and of course the president has to come and account to the country on where we are and of course where we are going and the trajectory of the country. So President Museveni was able to speak to the country last week, and he painted rather a rosy picture of the country, starting from the economy, starting to the inflation and everything. Really, it looks like Uganda is actually going or becoming better by the end of, or by the day. And also we realize that gold is one of those proceeds that we export exponentially here in the country. And many people say, where is this gold coming from, and how accountable have been the people who are managing the exportation of these particular resources? We'll be painting a picture of what is happening in the country, and maybe if we have some time we shall be looking at the politics in the land. As we speak, the NRM has some primary elections. The vice chairperson for the women's particular league in that particular political party, it's becoming tedious and rather competitive after the speaker, Aneta Mong, is going head to head with former speaker, that is Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga. So what does this mean to the politics of the country? We'll be talking about that this particular evening. I'm privileged to be joined by a gentleman who's not new. He's a panelist here. In fact, both of them, they are panelists right here at the hotline. Shall start with you, Mr. Joseph Ochieno from the Uganda People's Congress. It's always a privilege, sir, having you on the show. You're welcome.
Pleasure to be here, and except when we first started this program, when I was very lucky that you used to host me alone. By then my compatriot, fellow Pan-Africanist, I think maybe was still on strike. Did you know that actually they used to host me alone? Yeah. So I founded this program. Wow. But except for that, I've rarely sat as close to you as I am today, but it's good to be here. It's good to be here, and it's good to be here with my fantastic younger brother.
Okay. Yeah. Speaking of your younger brother, a Pan-Africanist, legendary journalist, and CEO, TheSpy, Mr. Andrew Irumba. It's always a privilege, sir, having
so much,
you.
my brother. It's always a pleasure, especially drinking from a very rich cup.
Wow.
Rich in terms of knowledge. My brother and my comrade senior here, Comrade Ochieno.
Imagine now, me, I'm taking from both of you.
You're a fine young man, by the way.
Thank you.
You do well.
Thank you so much.
Well,
and of course, you can join the conversation at The Alternative Uganda and at Digitalk TV. You're streaming on Facebook, but also on YouTube. My name is Edgar Mathew Karuhanga. You can also find me on those particular social media platforms. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Ochieno. How was your week? And also, let's talk about Heroes Day. Happy Heroes Day.
Oh gosh, my week was okay to the extent that it was the usual week,
Okay.
where you get phone calls for people who are looking for top-ups for school fees, guys that don't have that money, and people who are looking for top-ups because they want to attend medical services. People want, sometimes very desperately, asking for 7,000 shillings and they're up country.
It's like $2 really.
Yes, or sometimes less. And then there are people who are generally stranded over sometimes trivialities. It's not unusual for me to get phone calls where people are stranded over things involving 1,500 shillings, and people are complaining and fighting over it in the villages. Of course, some of those will be relatives, but some of them will be colleagues, and some of them can be members of UPC whom I would have connected with or maybe passed through their paths in much more harder part of the country, like West Nile, like in Karamoja, or perhaps even sometimes here in Bunyoro, or maybe as close as Bulisa, where there is oil.
Yeah.
So those are my usual weeks, and they irritate me because the very same week is the same week in which Mr. Museveni effectively grandstood at Kolo Airstrip, presenting how glorious the state of the country is, when I know the realities. And I told another program that in the Museveni State of the Nation address, not a single item referred to the realities that I know in my Nagongera. Now, Nagongera was amongst the few townships, as they call them, young towns, around the time I was starting school, in the whole of Bukedi. And so it's a generally very established place with a seminary, established schools, and general organized mini town. But it also continues to be the bastion of poverty. But it is also the place in which, if I go back today, I know there are families that go to bed without food. And this is in Toro, here, just here. And I also know that there is that place that I will stop down the road and I'll see children who will not have gone to school because they've been sent home for the 7,000 shillings extra that they should be put in for building contributions. And
they call it development fees.
Yeah, and whatever others, you go to church. And I went to church in Nagongera the other Sunday, 2 weeks ago. And I need to say this. They were announcing with massive pride the collections for the previous week. And the collection for the previous week over 2 masses, which includes this day's tithes, which they now, people do tithes, including in these churches, which is good in a way. And it was 120,000 shillings collections for 2 masses services. And I said, look, this is my Nagongera St. Wilbrah's Catholic Church which brought me up. Now that tells you the magnitude of despair, of poverty. And then you go through the collections of the day, and I'm just using that very deliberately. And this is the God's one, so I can't fight it. And you see a small parish collection group, the collection, people line up with baskets.
Yes.
And there is St. Kizito's, St. Wilbrod's, St. Roger's, and then one particular group, maybe a small sub-parish, basically they're sub-parishes. One sub-parish, there's a collection of 1,900 shillings. So that means maybe there are 5 people who made that, and people are just putting 100 shillings per day. Now, those are the realities today. But that's in Nagongera, by the way. Nagongera is not Liantonde, and Nagongera is not Rwakitura. Because Rwakitura was known. You get my point?
Okay.
And so, if then that is the state of the nation, I ask, for 40 years, there is not a single, and you can go with you.
We shall get there. We shall get there. Because one would even ask, does that undermine the fact that the country is going forward? That can be maybe...
Is that going
maybe
forward?
Maybe can be your sample space. There's some other people also telling a different kind of story. But before you delve there, it's Heroes Day. What is your message for heroes? And I don't know if that is a sarcastic laugh, but what is your message for Heroes Day?
Yeah. Before I do that, I'll still want to conclude in 30 seconds to tell you that it's unacceptable that you can have a state of the nation. So if there's a state of the nation in which Nagongara is not included in the nation, then you could as well say that we take off Nagongara from Uganda's map. Like 3 weeks ago, I was at Kololo, and as I was entering the airstrip, there was a cheeky stop off by the NRA guys who stopped traffic, and we were there for about 45 minutes because Museveni's wife was coming to enter Kololo airstrip. And I told the police and military guys that these guys can as well take Kololo airstrip, and the whole of Kampala, they can take it, could as well take it to Rwakitura. Meaning, so if Nagongara does not belong,
no, we've not said it does not belong.
But
I think the problems of people in Nagongara are the same problems with the people of Fort Potro.
Then the state of the nation is very... So I'm telling you, therefore, that Museveni's state of the nation, Museveni's state of the nation, therefore,
look at it
is a Rwakitura state of the nation, is a few people whom he steals 100,000 shillings, 1 million shillings and gives them. That state of the nation is not representative.
It's okay. We're going to look at that. But I want to first speak your mind on the Heroes Day. What is your message?
You realize that I look very sad today because I think I'm mourning Ugandans who died unnecessarily. I look at the father of Uganda's nationalism, that is Ignatius Musazi. I look at Milton Obote, the father of the Republic of Uganda. I look at David Wito Jok, who made the formal announcement in April 1979. That is the strategic tactician who got rid of Idi Amin in 1979. And I look at Tito Okello. I look at people like Zed Maruru. And I look at Joshua Wakoli, whose remains have never been found today. And I can count many of these Ugandans who died for nothing. And so those are Uganda's heroes. You can't find a reject from Ankole, which Mr. Museveni is, an election reject of 1980. You lose an election, leave Nyabushozi, go to Luweero, go and break people's necks in Luweero, come take power, and for 40 years, Nagongara is not included in your state. And you go Nyong and you shout and you say it's your hero. What hero is it? I think today should be a day of reflection. It's not a day of grandstanding. So because I don't know who the heroes in NRA are, and if they are, they're not national heroes. They're NRA heroes.
Okay, I'm going to come back there. Let me first bring in Mr. Irumba. Andrew, as you tell us about your week, what is your perspective of the Heroes Day celebrations that are being commemorated today? But also I saw some of the heroes that have been, let me say, awarded medals today. Many of them are soldiers. I saw Brigadier General Baguma Mugume, Brigadier General Mpaji, Rwashande. Most of them were soldiers that have been awarded this year. What's your message for Heroes?
Now you see, let me even begin with General Rwashande. Rwashande is the man who is trying to liberate Rwemiyaga from Sechikubo.
Yes, liberate.
Rwashande has been in the army since time immemorial. This is 2025. We are going to serious elections this year, I think beginning July, August?
June.
It sort of started now, really.
June.
The youth elections.
This is when Rwashande now is being awarded, recognized as a hero.
I get the point, yeah.
So he has said,
he has just retired.
Yeah,
he
but
retired this
January. Retiring
so
means
after retiring, with everything that he has gone through, how he has served the country, it's now time to
what a coincidence that he has been preaching the gospel of liberating Rwemiyaga from Sechikubo. So is Rwemiyaga in Rwanda that you want to liberate it to bring back to Uganda? Then on that around that same time, you are now awarding him as a hero. So that hero is going to liberate Rwemiyaga. Not from Rwanda, but from within the boundaries of Uganda, but from a person called Sechikubo. That's number one. Number two, I want to tie my argument on, in Uganda's context, comrade, who is a hero? we are vulgarizing the context of heroes and heroines. Now a murderer can be a hero in this regime. A thief can be a hero because you are serving the interest of the sitting government. So the word hero is, we need to find another meaning. Not the one I grew up learning about from primary life up to...
If men put their lives on the line and liberated the country, like they like to say it, from all the outrageous things that happened then, why wouldn't you call them heroes when they gave their ultimate self?
What outrageous crimes are not happening now that they liberated us from? Let's begin from there. What outrageous crimes are not happening now that they liberated us from, comrade? If it was about murders, you just heard General Muhoozi Kainerugaba has ordered the release of a soldier who is alleged to have killed some people in a gold mine store somewhere. You have heard about that?
Yeah,
the man
but
was
we are not,
arrested
that's still gossip. We don't have evidence to confirm it yet.
Yeah, but if you believe that there is rule of law, General Muhoozi should allow the due process of the law to take place. You are not the court. You are not the judge. You didn't even study the law. So if there is a suspect being suspected to have murdered somebody, allow the due process to take place. Because he has said, you release him, I will deal with him myself. I know him for a long time. What are you saying? So now you are the court. You get it? Don't be surprised tomorrow that man can be awarded as a hero. That man. Hey, hey. So those are the kind of heroes now we are celebrating.
Some of you said today that they are he called them counterfeit heroes. Why are you disrespectful, really? How do you call a man like Brigadier Rashande counterfeit hero? Why isn't he a hero?
No, do not put words in my mouth. You started by saying Semujunga.
No, but for you also saying these are not heroes.
I just find it a little bit disturbing that we don't have the clear parameters at national level of who described who a hero is. But rather, if right now we went into a war and we won the war, everybody among us, even when you had been raping girls in the bush, you become a hero because I choose as a commander-in-chief that you become a hero. Yes. So we don't have a national team, devoid of politics, that can say these are the parameters. When we are schooling, there is a cut-off point that for as long as you have not gone above 50, you have failed, you go back to class. Even if your mother is the head teacher, the moment you have not achieved 50 pass mark, you go back to class. Now in Uganda, we don't have that. Even if the pass mark was 50 for heroes, someone can say,
you don't want to see.
Someone can say, this one is a son of a revolutionary. Even if you got 20, you give him as a hero. So now you don't have a pass mark. If I asked you what are the perimeters of evaluating heroes and heroines in Uganda, what would you say? Are there some key things that you look at and say, Ochieno, these are the perimeters, and for you, you don't qualify. If it's about age, you say, Ochieno, you are not yet 80, you are still 70, so you don't qualify. You get it?
Yes.
Yes. If it's about color, you say, Ochieno, you are too black. You are supposed to be a bit brown. If it's about height, you say, Mr. Ochieno, you are 4.5 meters. The hero.
I get you. The criteria is there.
So you tell me, what are the perimeters of one becoming a hero in Uganda? Are they there?
No, I think one would say they look at some of the service, the operations.
Who looks at them?
Of course, there's the fountain of honor. Okay. He evaluates to see that if I have sent you, for example, Kayanja, I'm giving an example. You have done Operation Shuja very well. You've done this operation, and I think
what is Shuja?
It's an operation in DR Congo.
In Congo.
Yes.
To do what? We are Pan-Africanists. Shuja is in Congo. What are we doing in Congo?
we are fighting.
So you add the word that you have looted very well in
You've
Congo.
looted very well in
You have
Congo.
overlooked.
Yeah?
You see, that's the diction. You're choosing to call it looting. Someone is
No.
calling it a military
No,
operation.
no,
You see,
no,
like
it is
how
actually,
we
no,
said,
no,
that the victors of the war like to determine.
Today Uganda is paying billions of money
that's correct,
in
yes.
US dollars for looters who went to Congo and looted.
So,
Instead of-
Mr. Irumba, who do you think would make a better hero in this country if you were to evaluate? With your history, with the experience you have, who would
First,
make
a
a good
person
hero?
who has died for the national cause, not a regime cause. That's the simple thing.
Yeah.
He who has died for a national cause. You know why they call Nelson Mandela more than a hero? He can be a hero, he can be anything in South Africa. Because he offered himself to die for anything that would bring peace in his country. Even when he became president, he did killing on power for 40 years because he's the hero. No. He said, my job is to start off the journey. If the car has been off the road, I have brought the car back onto the right track. So any driver now can drive. So I give up. Another driver can come and take over the car. That is a hero. You're not fighting for yourself. You're fighting for the national cause.
So tell me,
So now-
the people who lost their lives in Luwero, to what extent are they heroes?
Do you know the history of Luwero is being told by those that won. So the first casualty in that history of Luwero is the truth. What did I say?
The first
The first casualty in that Luwero war is the truth. Comrade Karuhanga, if I tell you 50 people died in Luwero, I am telling you as the commander-in-chief today, do you have contrary information to say no, they were 100? You don't have.
There's no way. I have to
So
take
if
his
it-
word for it.
Exactly. But is he Jesus? Do you think that man speaks nothing but the truth? The one who's telling you. The other day, I had somebody who was involved in an accident here. The accident that killed 7 people. One of the survivors, I hosted him on my show. He told me, from my own car, where I was, the taxi, we were 14. We only came out 2. But remember, this heavy petrol truck crushed 7 cars. All those cars had dead bodies. My own car, where I was in a taxi, we were 14, but we came out 2. But the police as officials said only 7 people died. You get the point?
I get you.
So it means more than 20 people died.
Yes.
This is an account from a survivor. And he stood there and saw and counted the bodies from his taxi. So when he heard police saying, very boldly, 7 people have died, the man was saying, you people, you mean the rest who died were chicken, not human beings? But once the police speaks, that's the official statement.
So you're trying to say
So that's the official statement. 7 people died. But the man who was there who tells you over 20 people died. So now, this history of Luwero they are telling
did
you.
they die in vain? Those people
The
in
Luwero?
Did they die in vain?
I can't tell. I can't tell whether it's somebody who died there in Luwero or somebody who survived. Like I told you, the first casualty in such a war is the truth. Did you hear of somebody telling you that one time, I think he was crazy and he spoke the truth for the first time. He said, when we were there, we would put on boots. Like you see the way I'm putting on my shoes? This one would put it upside down. Upside down means this would go into this and this one comes this side. Then they walk backwards.
Yes.
When they walk backwards,
Yes.
they confuse you.
They confuse
Where
the
exactly-
enemy. The enemy.
Now,
Yes.
they would go there and commit atrocities.
Yes.
After committing atrocities, now they walk smartly to the camps of the rebels. So that when you are tracing, you see the footsteps going into the rebel camps. So it will be easy to convince you as a layman that it is these rebels who have raped your children, your girls. So you give me your strong sons and daughters to come and join me in the war. Did you hear that account?
I've heard of that narrative.
Hey, so now, somebody at one time, I think he drank something and he spoke the truth. Another person said, sometimes they would put on
UPC.
the government, the official army uniforms, bombard areas, beat up people, kill people, maim people, rape women. Then afterwards, they leave evidence that shows it is government forces. Because the uniform that they would ensure they drop around, or even they forget in homes, are government uniform. So in the morning they would come to commiserate with you and say, so sorry. But you see, these are government soldiers who are doing these things. So we must work together to get rid of these people. So you would join very ably because you want to get rid of that problem. But actually it is that same person who has caused the problem. So the complex of the heroes of Uganda, sometimes they make me sick.
Okay. That is Andrew Irumba, CEO, TheSpy, veteran journalist and senior journalist in the country. Mr. Ochieno, then why do we keep on wasting
But before
money?
you go back to Mr. Ochieno, would
Yes,
you allow
please.
me also speak a little bit about what we went through last week as a weekly roundup in terms of the 3rd June being Matters Day?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important. Now, in my Pan-Africanism, I don't think the people who died in Namgongo were martyrs, that we were even supposed to celebrate them. Hey,
What were they?
you know that those days, a king was the sovereign leader of the territory. If a king has said, don't join that crusade of religious leaders, and you join them, and you officially show me support them, what do you think the king would do to you? Or what would you call yourself? You are disobedient. You are a rebel.
Of course, I would be a rebel.
So what would a rebel, what do you think is the punishment for a rebel? Or a rebellious son in a family? To give you ice cream. So those guys were killed because they rebelled against the king. The king didn't bother whether you were Catholic, Muslim, or Protestant.
I think what qualifies them to be martyrs is that they gave their life for something they believed in, and they never in one moment said
Let
no.
me ask you, there is
They
a
would not deny it.
There is a 12-year-old boy. Are you aware?
Yes.
So what did he believe and what did he understand at that time?
At 12, you can understand your God, something
That
you
that
believe in.
that you die for faith at 12 years. Would you die for faith at 12? Even by the time you were 12, did you
Well, at
understand how
12,
you were
no.
baptized? Did you?
But one would say,
One, legally, you must make a personal decision, even in the laws of Uganda now, when you are 18 years. When you are 18 years, everybody believes that every decision you take, you really understand it. You can't be 12 years and somebody says he has died for his religion. There is somebody who has been feeding him information.
so that means
And that may not be correct.
so that means the kid who walks,
They killed
the kid who
rebellion.
walks from
They
Mubende to
killed-
Namugongo
they killed the
does
reb-
not
they-
understand what he's doing.
They killed rebels.
No, are you trying to say that a kid who walks from Mubende to Namugongo does not know what
He's
they are
simply
doing?
following a flock of people walking.
At least they have a- that's what I'm trying to-
and at that age, you can be moved just by a group
Yes,
of people.
but they had an option of saying we would deny, but we still wouldn't. They refused to deny.
No, my brother, I want to be clear that Kabaka Mwanga ordered Mukajanga to go and kill rebellious people in his kingdom. Kabaka Mwanga did not believe that Catholicism and Protestantism was a right ideology in his kingdom. So anybody who came to support it against his will, you were supposed to die. It didn't matter whether you were Mutoro or Muchiga. It didn't matter whether you were a Catholic or Protestant. It only mattered that you had rebelled. So at the end of the day, they say, these have died for their faith. No, you have died because you are rebellious.
I gave you an opportunity because we had that conversation on Monday last week, but I wanted to hear what he's saying on that. As maybe you also...
You're supposed to die.
You were rebellious.
Yes.
Okay, but at least they died for
If
their
you
faith.
rebel against your boss here, what will he do? Of course, now he doesn't have to kill you, but he will kick you out of this studio.
Thank you so much.
So would you come and say tomorrow, I was kicked out because I'm Karuhanga, because I'm black, because I'm tall? No, he has kicked you out because you have rebelled.
Thank you so much, Mr. Irumba. Ochieno, sir, I want you to just paint a picture. If we go back to the heroes, why do we keep spending this money? Because it's billions of shillings that we invest in that day, and according to how you're saying, these people should not be heroes.
No, it's criminal. It is criminal. You know, when I was telling you about Nagongara, I didn't. I realized possibly you did not see that I was actually building the case. That it is criminal that today billions of Uganda shillings are being spent lavishly by a bunch who are not necessarily accountable to the people of this country, actually insulting people who lost blood, But as I said, right now as I speak, a woman is going to die tonight giving birth in a hospital in Uganda. Right now as I talk, somebody is going to die of malaria tonight in a public facility.
No, just somebody has already died.
And there's no medication.
Somebody has already died since morning.
And right now somebody is trying to find a way of selling their chicken, their hen, or a cock or something like that to cater for and offer basic health facilities. Some people are actually taking shortcuts to go and do the African style, which sometimes is slightly cheaper.
Yes. I get you, sir.
So it's actually absolutely criminal. These guys, I think, who should be a hero? I think let's leave that for another day, or I can actually discuss it much later, but good enough you're not asking me about that. But it's actually possible for national heroes like Comrade Irumba suggested to emerge. I tried to give you account of who some of them were, both military and otherwise. And those will be legitimate heroes. And indeed, we also have heroes, including those who emerge, and I see it happen in other countries, by the way. Like in Britain, they will do that. People who've done heroinous work in communities. So somebody who possibly rescued people in an accident and showed a sign of extra courage and risk.
An example would be a story in France where a gentleman risked himself to just save a baby who was trapped in a furnace. And this person was rewarded with French citizenship and a national hero of France.
Those should be the national heroes.
Okay.
And heroes. But for a bunch, as I said, Mr. Museveni lost elections in Mbarara North. Went to Luwero. The first shot in Mbarara, in Kabamba, it was actually aimed at a Tanzanian soldier. Apparently the firing, which is being grandstood that the guy with the one eye, what is his name? Eli Tumine. That was the guy's courageous. Actually even missed. So he's not even missed the shot, by the way, in Kabamba. In that, did you know that?
No.
No, he missed the shot. Number two, the deal between Tumine and Jeje Odong, you see, Jeje Odong is a permanent NRA, whatever. Jeje Odong was the commandant in that place, UNLA, but they had a deal with the Musevenis to give them Kabamba, the armory, except it was a deal that went bad. They don't want to tell that story. So it's a bunch of criminal cowards.
You're going personal, really.
I'm not.
You're going personal.
I know people like you sometimes, some of you young guys, especially who grew around too many NRA guys, sometimes when we state some of these facts, they become a bit uncomfortable, isn't it? I'm just telling you the fact. And in part because you've not heard about it, have you? You did not hear about that. That's a fact.
Okay.
Tumine missed, okay?
The story is different. I know about Tumine, but let's continue.
No. I'm telling you, you invited us here because of our skills and expertise and our information. And me and Irumba, we are actually desperately trying to sell this thing to Ugandans as facts. Jeje Odong can't deny this. Museveni can't deny this. Can Museveni deny that he's a reject of Nyabushozi? Can Museveni deny that he came third in elections? Okay. Can Museveni deny that he didn't go to court in Mbarara but came to Luwero?
No, he
so which election, what did he come to rescue in Luwero? Luwero, the whole of Luwero, people voted DP in Buganda. Only one seat, UPC in Mubende, by Samir Mugisha, fantastic Minister of Agriculture. The rest were DPs. So where was UPC? Whom were they bombing in? No, those guys went there. So the people who died, particularly elderly people who died, their family should ask Mr. Museveni about their sons and daughters. The innocent people of Luwero should ask Museveni about their sons and daughters.
Okay.
And then finally, yes. Mr. Museveni, lest you forget, they used to throw bombs here in Kampala. Did you know that? Yeah. I know you had not been born.
Well, I know.
3 o'clock in the afternoon, some of us are going to school. Boom, bombs in the markets. Boom, bombs on taxis.
Okay.
This guy's killed. This guy should be bumped into Luzera. These guys are no heroes.
Thank you. I'm going to end with you. Andrew, is there something you want to add on the heroes? Any last remark?
No, honestly, no. I think I made my point clear.
Okay, but what
I don't understand the context of who is a hero in Uganda. Maybe I need to go back and study the right English. Maybe you don't understand who a hero is.
Okay, no problem. I'm still with Mr. Andrew Irumba and Joseph Ochieno right here on the Alternative Digital TV. We have 17 minutes to the top of the hour, and the hotline show happens every particular Monday from 7 to 9. We touch base on some of the issues that have been happening in the country, paint a picture for you to understand maybe, and also make an informed decision about yourself, but also for your community. Before we delve into Mr. Museveni's very rosy state of the nation, I also want to pick your mind, your drivers. There is a new penalty system.
Express penalty system.
Express penalty system that is in town now. One would say it's bringing accountability, but there are some voices here and there. I want to start with you, Andrew. What do you think about this new phenomenon?
There is no accountability, my brother, it's bringing. There is thuggery, more thuggery.
I think now it's bringing sanity on the road.
What sanity?
Driving.
Let me tell you first.
Please paint a picture.
What is the main cause of accidents on our Ugandan roads? Do you know what it is? First, the state of our roads.
I think it's reckless drivers.
That can be the third or fifth point.
No, they say it's the first. Yours is the second or third.
No. Of course, they will have to tell you that is the first, so that they charge you, because their interest is money. It's not about addressing the issue. So allow me to tell you. Let me tell you. The first cause of accidents on our Ugandan roads, it's not reckless driving. It's not even overspeeding, nothing. Do you know in Europe and America, highways, this one has been in UK, for most of his years. The highways, somebody can even drive 220 kilometers per hour. Am I lying?
Yeah,
highways.
There's some motorways without limits.
220 kilometers, others. Some even have cars that can even go as fast as 240 kilometers per hour. There is no accident. So what is the problem? The state of the roads. Ugandan roads. One, it's just as big, as narrow as this. You see this one in the studio here? Then you have, it's two-way. It's this narrow, but it's two-way. Then on your side on the left, if you are driving to Fort Portal, you have to leave a space for a stupid border man. Then you have to leave a space for a cow that has been tethered along the road. Then you have to leave a space for a pedestrian. Then you have to leave a space now for you to drive. Then you have to leave another space for the other car coming from the different direction. Then that car coming from your different direction also has to leave space for those three categories that I have mentioned. Are you getting it? So you are like 10 things competing for a small road. Now, even that small road, it is potholed. So tell me, when I'm negotiating a pothole, I'm entering into the other person's way. Remember, on my side, I have 3 things to give away to, including a stupid border. The other side, the same thing for the other person coming from a different. So you find 10 things competing for a small road like this, which is also not correct. Potholed, humps here, and humps that even there is no warning. You simply drop in like a small hump, that is the warning. The next one is a big hump. Their warning is a small hump. That is their warning, not signs. If there is a sign, it is somewhere hidden. Then after it, there is a big MTN billboard, or Airtel, or Bellaga, Mwenge, or Waragi. Uganda Waragi. The billboard for Uganda Waragi is big. The sign post for a road, that example is small. So as you are coming, your eyes first look at the Uganda Waragi, not the road sign. So when you know, so the police officer, let me finish.
Have you had these accidents?
I am coming. I am explaining.
What I'm trying to say.
I am explaining to you the main causes of accidents on our Ugandan roads.
A person, a bad workman, who's blaming his tools other than himself as
I am going to show you by the end of my argument that it is the government that is a bad workman blaming his tools. Allow me to teach, not you but the viewers. So that is the problem. The road is narrow, we are competing for a small road that is not even clear. Number 2, there is a man called the stupid border. He thinks anytime, anywhere, he has a right of way. He's like an ambulance. An ambulance has a right of way. Presidential convoy has a right of way. A border man has convinced himself stupidly that he's also among those two. So anywhere he reaches a car, he wants the car to stop and he passes. Even when he's driving on the wrong side, he wants you, the person who is in the right side, to stop for him to pass. So those are the two main causes of accidents: the road and the stupid border. Go and check in Mulag Hospital. Even has a special word called border accidents. Not cows accident. Not cows.
Yeah.
A cow tethered on the roadside. In the morning, when there is mist and it fears to stay in the breeze, it will take some refuge on the road because the road is warm a bit in the morning. As soon as it sees a car or even a human being, the cow moves and goes back and hides in the bush. When you pass, it comes back. Have you seen that? When you are moving in the villages, these small roads in the village, you find a hen in the middle of the road taking, taking some food. The moment you're about to reach the hen escapes and takes refuge by the roadside. When you pass, it comes back and continues with its food. So the hen understands better than a border. When the border sees you, the car coming, instead he enters the road.
No,
a hen, when it saw you coming, it hid.
I agree with you.
So now.
But Andrew, you've been driving for a long time, and I want to assume that you have not caused a lot of catastrophic accidents or any catastrophic accident yet.
Yes.
How have you been driving for that long?
Because
with those factors intertwined, and you still drive safe and sound?
Because I've understood that I'm with stupid people.
Exactly. So what I'm trying to say
now,
is that
let me qualify my statement. The stupid people, I'm not only meaning the border. No, I'm meaning the person in charge of expanding my road, but he has eaten 2 lanes. That one is also stupid. Go to America. He has been in the UK. Yeah, one way is 4 lanes. Another way is 4 lanes. Those are 8 lanes. All highways, leave alone now Europe because it is too involved. Go to Kenya here. Go to Tanzania. All highways are 1 way. Most fatal accidents happen on head-on collision. They know, these stupid people, that head-on collision happen most on highways. So right from Malaba up to Kisumu, up to Nairobi, 1 way. And each 1 way has 2 lanes or 3 lanes. Tell me how you will meet with the other person from a different direction when clearly there is a 1 way. So now, the person
what is wrong with the penalty system?
I'm going to come. I'm going to tell you. Now, the person who is supposed to construct 3 lanes going and 3 lanes coming, he has eaten 2 lanes. He has left us with 1 lane. Now, tomorrow the same stupid person is charging me for knocking another.
There you go.
This stupid person is charging me for knocking another when he ate the money. Now, what is the problem with the penalty? Now, this very stupid person who ate the 2 lanes now is penalizing me, charging me that I have overdriven. And because I have overdriven, I have knocked somebody. The problem was not overspeeding. The speed has no... This expressway... This expressway, how much speed do we drive? This expressway. Have you heard of accidents? Do accidents on that road happen as much as they happen on these other roads? No. Why? It is 1 way, and it is clean, and it has lighting. Why? Because it is for payment. We pay, they charge us. So, this expressway, accidents are minimized. And the speed is higher than these other normal roads. But there is no accident. Why? Because it is 1 way, and it is wide enough. And it is clear. The lights are both on during the day and at night. These other roads, there is no light at night.
So, okay, just tell me, what is the problem with you going at a certain limit, speed limit, that don't pass by 30?
My brother.
And you'll pay the 600.
My brother.
And when you go slow,
my brother, I have told you, these people who have eaten the 2 lanes, in order to find excuses to penalize you further, they have told you, please drive 30 kilometers per hour, going to Fort Portal from Kampala. When you meet that same stupid person who is telling me to do it, he cannot drive his car from Kampala to Fort Portal at 30 kilometers per hour. You will meet a traffic police car driving at 180 kilometers per hour. Meanwhile, the same police officer is telling you to drive 30 kilometers per hour, going a highway, that you have a program in Fort Portal. You are in Kampala now, that you should drive at 30 kilometers per hour. Which highway in the world has ever done that? So, he has failed to accuse himself for stealing from us. He's finding refuge in our speed. First, before you charge me, first do your part. Make sure we have clean roads, make sure there is enough lighting, make sure there is no potholes. Now charge me for overdriving.
Okay. You've always talked
You have
about
failed on your part.
the cost
You are
of-
finding refuge in blaming others. You first do your part. Run your race, blame others for not doing the same.
Let me bring in Honorable Ochieno. Honorable Ochieno, we've always decried the poor policies on the roads, saying that these taxes are too cheap, talking about the receipts, you know, being able to manipulate them through corruption. Now they have brought you a system that even if nobody holds you accountable, the system itself is now computerized. It will send you an email that, hey, Mr. Joseph Ochieno, you need to pay this for this reason with the evidence attached. One would say the country is moving to a better modernized system.
On the basis of what Comrade Irumba said.
I don't want to base on his, I want to just say, don't you see the modernity?
But before you come in, let me also add something. You see, Uganda, these African leaders are very hopeless. They want to copy and paste, but they don't want to copy everything. Now you see one of the expressions they've been saying.
In Rwanda.
Even in Europe.
In Rwanda.
Even in Rwanda. This is happening. Yes, in Europe, they first worked on the roads. So why don't you copy everything? Copy the system. Copy that the fact is the European roads and the Rwanda roads are clean and they are rating. Now again, after making the roads clean, now they come to charge you who is driving recklessly. However, these ones are charging the ones who are purportedly driving recklessly without them doing their things that they're supposed to do. In Europe, they first do the first things first.
Thank you. He reminds me of a gentleman who's always here, and he will say, when Martha Karua was entering Tanzania, you saw, but when he came here, I know you know that person.
I do. And on the basis of what my brother is talking about, there is nothing clever about what these people are doing. It's actually criminal. And if only, and by the way, your audience need to know that in your studios, your camera person and others and people who control the studios are predominantly young, beautiful ladies and boys. Meaning young Ugandans need to wake up,
yes,
you know,
please.
and take charge of this. You know, Ugandans are being taken for ride and for granted for such a long time, and so much in the extreme, that this is something that would obviously cause a strike. But of course, we're not going to strike because people fear Museveni's son. You know, that you better not go to streets of Kampala because you'll go down to the basement.
They're building more basements, so be careful.
And whether you like it or not, then you may have to go and land on Nyankore. Now for me, Ejapodola from Luna, Gongera, I don't...
By the time you land in Nyankore, you may land forever.
It can be hard, man.
You may land forever. You may not come back.
Some people boast that for us, when they disappear, they come back. At least the times when we're busy, they never come back. I was like, hey, so it's a lesser evil now.
You know, no. Away from Europe, this country ever had a system before Museveni came. Before Museveni came, we had trains. Kampala to Kasese, that would be an easy journey for you. Then you're able to pick up and then go to, you travel business class to Kasese, and then you can then proceed to Fort Portal. And for me in Nagongera, there would be no need for me to drive my car, which the NRA road is already broken. We had public service buses. The roads were okay. Potholes came in around Idi Amin's time, and they were very quickly being refilled. In fact, in 1984, in my first journey to Katuna, Kabale and Katuna, it was my first time in 1984 to visit Kabale, and then I was able to go to Katuna. Huge major roadworks from Kampala, Masaka, Kabale Road, rehabilitating the mess to take it away from the potholes. But Comrade Irumba, I can sympathize with you. You know Hoima Road, and that's the road that goes to this place where they go to indoctrinate people, Chankwanzi. They've done it recently because I was there recently.
They are constructing
Those potholes used to be terrible. So 2 years ago, I think I was in one of the national television that spoke about it the day after the potholes. And then a member of parliament actually from the West told me that I think 3, 4, 5 days later, after that come from Chankwanzi, they started sort of feeling it. Now, it may or may not necessarily be related, but I couldn't understand how these guys go to Chankwanzi so often, and they were facing those portals. Extremely dangerous. Meaning the point is, a senior leader from Kagadi told me one time I had visited, they said that, Joseph, make sure you go early. And if you go early, please don't pass there. because of the point about the accident you're talking about. And yet, you know, I've been driving since before and around the time you bought. No. Have the trains, have the buses, do the roads, do the cars, do the mechanical things, do the trainings. Let the rules for paying taxes be the same rules for everything else. Let us know that the monies that we pay for penalties are money that
penalties really bring sanity to the
it's
roads?
criminal. No, it's criminal. It will not bring
Because now people are even already driving.
It is such a lot of money. It's commonsensically such a lot of money. You know, the amount of money being asked are people's salaries.
Yeah, they do. Know? That's why they call it a deterrent.
No,
they're doing that
but they're
to
thick.
deter another person.
No, they're thick. They're thick. And I'm saying that they're thick. Because they live in another world. And by them I'm using that very deliberate, because some of these are our colleagues. The person who came with that is someone who wants to take us to some kind of extreme slavery for the people of Uganda, meaning lock Ugandans in such a manner that they're not able to sustain their ordinary life. It's criminal to say that some of those European spaces that I talk about, equivalent of 600 Uganda shillings, when the top age of earnings in Uganda is 1 million Uganda shillings. It's like the basic fixed penalty thing in the UK or in Europe is equivalent of this would be possibly £2,000 equivalent to 3,000. This is extraordinary.
Okay.
It just doesn't make sense. Deal with what Comrade Irumba is talking about, and you get it sorted now.
Okay.
If you know that you go to church, you go and pray, fine. You know you go to classrooms, you find people. You know you go to an office and you find the minister and you get whatever you got. You go for your NIRA and then you go to get your documents. You go and work systems that work, that is fine. But if you want to pick people's money, you know, but you don't want to give them the services, no, you're up to something else.
I'm going to bring you after this short commercial break. But before I go for the break, I have here a statement by President Museveni, the State of the Nation. He talks about tourism development, minerals, parish development model, how it has alleviated poverty in the country. He talks about maize, he talks about coffee, fish. And all these things paint a rather beautiful picture of where the country is going. And then he also hints on some of the construction that will be going on very, very soon. That and much more is what we touch base on after this short commercial break. I'll be coming back with Mr. Irumba. We talk about what he had to say, but after that, we delve into the conversation of the State of the Nation. How practical and how feasible is Mr. Museveni's State of the Nation? Is it actually the State of the Nation? What worked and what did he miss? We take a short commercial break. You're still watching the Hotline Show. My name is Edgar Mathew Karuhanga. This is Digitalk TV.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Go to the church, though.
Tawali man, what's up?
Man, can you imagine people just dump everywhere? Someone drinks water and throws the bottle wherever.
Come on, Rogers. What else do you expect people to do with an empty bottle?
Simanya now, recorder. Do you know that plastics take at least 450 years to decompose?
What? That's a long time.
Exactly. Because plastics are made out of a lightweight and flexible material that doesn't decompose easily. And plastics everywhere in the environment cause plastic pollution.
What is plastic pollution now?
It is the accumulation of plastic waste in the environment, like bottles, polythene bags, straws. All of these contribute to plastic pollution.
I have been using them without knowing their effect.
Yeah, a lot of people have. Plastics are a danger to the ecosystem, both on land and in water.
So how can we overcome this problem? Is there something we can do?
Oh yes, we can reduce by minimizing the use of plastics, reuse by repurposing them, or recycle by collecting and processing them into new products.
Everyone wants to change the world, but no one wants to change themselves for the world.
How about we change our habits for the world?
And it starts with me and you.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digitalk.
Hi Rogers, can I ask you something?
Shoot.
What does corruption mean?
Well, summarily, corruption is abuse of public power for personal gain or for the benefit of a group to which one owes allegiance. For example, when a public office is abused by an official accepting or soliciting a bribe. By the way, private people can be corrupt too, like bribing police officers, to escape fines.
Okay. So exactly how does that concern me?
Well, do you pay taxes?
I guess, yeah. What does that have to do with this?
Everything. Because those taxes you pay are supposed to facilitate services you use, like water, electricity, roads construction, medicines in hospitals, name it.
Okay, that is much bigger than I thought. But it can be stopped, right?
Well, yes, it can, although it may not be as easy as it sounds. And here is the reason why. Corruption roots are grounded in our country's social, political, economic, bureaucratic traditions and policies.
So, what has kept it going this long? I mean, why don't we stop it?
Well, the main reason why it has been here for so long is because institutions are weak, either as a result of poorly defined ethical standards of public service, weak administrative and financial systems, or ineffective watchdog agencies.
What can we do to stop it?
At a national level, we must focus on strengthening the independence and effectiveness of public institutions that fight corruption. At a personal level, we must commit to never giving a bribe.
I promise I'll never give a bribe.
Well, that's a great decision you have made. Me and you now have to spread this message to all our friends. If we all do our part, corruption will be no more.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digital.
The Alternative Digital. Real issues, real talk.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. 5 minutes past 8 p.m. We're into our second and final hour of the show. My name is Edgar Mathew Karuhanga. I am with senior journalist Mr. Andrew Irumba, CEO of TheSpy, and also politician from the Uganda People's Congress, that is Honorable Joseph Ochieno. I can see a couple of messages coming through. Some are on X, and this is Mr. Amana Charles' comment on Annette Among and how she's... Okay, yes, I think Charles wants to say that Annette Among is growing through the ranks very fast. So she wants us to comment on that. But we shall comment on your query very, very soon. Please keep on sending those messages, comments, queries at The Alternative Uganda, at Digitalk TV, at Edgar Mathew Karuhanga. I'll be reading them subsequently. You had something to say, Mr. Irumba, as we went for the break, but also comment on the question by Mr. Charles, that what do you read in the ascension of Anita Among and how she is being competitive, I think, especially in the politics of the country. She's now vying for vice president, NRM, vice chairperson, sorry, NRM, women.
Anita Among, the UPC lady who is a minister in...
No, Anita Among, I think he meant the speaker.
The speaker?
But first, start off with what you had to say.
So the other point, before you bring in another topic about the traffic, have you ever imagined, you Edgar, you have an appointment in Imbarara and you're driving at 30 kilometers per hour? Can you imagine that speed? Are you serious? Like, are you going for a serious engagement? The person who is trying to implement that, when he's driving his private car, does he drive that same speed? The police officer who is on the road implementing that order, does he drive the same speed when he's in his own private car? Have you met the convoy of the president? Have you met the convoy of the prime minister? Have you met the convoy of any minister in Uganda? Do they drive that speed? So are you saying that they don't love their lives? They love us more than they love themselves.
And can I just compliment that? Actually, on the major roads, particularly including these European roads that they talk about,
yes,
if you actually drive at 30 kilometers per hour, the police will pull you down.
They charge
because you're causing basically that's dangerous
why
driving.
Slow, yes.
You're basically slowing traffic, but in itself, amidst that, you can cause confusion and cause accidents.
Yeah,
they actually charge you.
I've seen that before.
They charge you.
Where they charged someone because they were so slow.
Yes.
Saying you were supposed to be fast here.
Yes. So, what is the problem?
Conclude,
what's my problem? The problem is this, my brother.
Yes, sir.
That Uganda and Africa the problem is that we pick what helps us to steal more. Uganda police has gone and only picked an element from the road carnage to where it works for them to pick more money from the Ugandans. They have not addressed the real cause of the accidents. The real cause of the accident is the road network, the state of the road network. Number two, the border borders in CBD Kampala is becoming more than the number of people in Kampala. Government of Uganda has no solution for that. If it was another country, they would have stopped importation of more border borders in Uganda. You cut off the importation and then you control the one. But right now, as we speak, hundreds of border borders
Who imports them? I think there is also a person.
Of course, because now they are targeted. They want more money. Because the more border borders you import, the more taxes you get. But they are not taking care of the tragedy the border borders are causing in Kampala.
And the environment.
When they cause the accidents in Kampala, they say it's reckless driving. They forget to add the contribution that they're adding. Allowing, I was in Rwanda. In Rwanda, my brother, every stage has a specific number of border borders.
Yes.
You can't just buy a border border and say, I'm going to work from here. No. There is a process, registration process. They'll even know this is Edgar, his number plate is this, his jacket, his helmet is number this. The camera is watching you. If you rob from your passenger, they will get you in 5 seconds. Because the camera is watching you. Now here they have said the camera is watching you to penalize you. But when you are robbed, when a border man robs his passenger, that camera is blind. Are you aware?
I have heard of those
Are you aware?
scenarios. Yes.
So this is stupidity.
As you conclude, sir.
I have concluded
Thank
with
you so
stupidity.
much. Okay. Mr. Ochieno, I want you to comment on the question of Charles as we enter the State of the Nation. Is there something you see in the rise or the ascension of Speaker Anita Among, especially in the politics of the country?
No, there's nothing unusual. If who's Museveni's prime minister?
No, Nabanja?
Yeah. Did you know her 5 years ago?
She was another DC. I knew
I
her.
think I knew her.
She was another DC.
Have you seen her dance?
As a mobilizer of NRM too.
Have you danced?
That is humor.
Do you know the role of prime minister? So these are Museveni's Fisher people. Yeah. So now, do you know who my Mr. Speaker is? The Speaker of Parliament between 1980 and 85, when the Museveni was busy breaking people's necks with the Kagame, by the way, and others, in Luweero, is Francis Butagira. Munyankole man. Fantastic gentleman. Fantastic gentleman. Oh, Mzee, I still respect you. Mr. Speaker, Francis Butagira. Those are quality. Those are leaders. Those are nationalists.
Don't you see
Whatever is happening around Museveni
the
is saying
Speaker
that
is gathering a lot of, one would say, power, resources, and she's growing through the ranks that fast.
Yeah,
I had her even
because
she's
the end
not going to come back as a Speaker of Parliament, and that this is her last term. After the next term, she won't be coming back. So one would say she's ascending. She's even the money woman. I saw her donating $1 billion for a cancer run. I saw her donating 100 million to bury someone. So one would say she's wielding a lot of influence.
I have told you this system is a strange system. It's a system from the bush. They just behave like bush business.
Okay.
No, because I don't know how a speaker in a normal democracy would have an envelope. I don't.
Okay.
I don't know. So, no, but Anita is a fantastic lady. She's done very well for herself. And the rise in NRA is a scramble for people to be near Mr. Muhoozi. The other time she hosted Mr. Muhoozi, Museveni's son. So,
General.
So if Mr. Muhoozi, the army commander, is lord in a meeting for my friend, both Minister for Defense, General Muhoozi is lord for Anita Mongi, then you know what's happening in NRA is there's nothing logical about it.
Okay.
That's basically the point I'm trying to make. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm not quite sure whether giving it a lot of airtime is anything but simply saying that no,
just for
this
the
country
benefit
is in anarchy.
Of Mr. Wamala. Comrade, is there something you see in that essential?
I have no comment on the topic of AAA. I would rather switch to the State of the Nation address.
Okay, I would ask why don't you have a comment on
Because I have no comment.
Okay,
Yeah.
I hope because you have no comment. Some
Yeah.
people believe maybe she has influence.
On
Even
me?
on the show.
On the show.
Okay, so maybe there's influence on the show.
No.
She has influence on the show.
Maybe there's
For me,
influence on the show.
I'd rather focus on
Okay.
really.
It's seldom that you don't comment on such issues, but it's okay. Let's
because
continue.
I realize the State of the Nation address is more important to discuss. on
Thank
this.
you so much. Thank you so much. But I had given you a minute or two. You're still watching the hotline show. Let's start with the state of. Let's start with the State of the Nation. Comrade Irumba, we shall continue the conversation off air. I'll talk about a couple of things. Mr. Museveni paints a rather rosy picture, as I told you earlier on. First of all, many things, there's a lot of development here and there. I'm going to start by where he even started from. As the president, he talked about Uganda's GDP, that is going to more than double from 158 to 158 billion by 2030. Capitalization of Uganda Development Bank is at 1.5 trillion. He talks about how parish development model has helped in poverty alleviation. A couple of, he says peace, in fact that was the first thing he started on, that there is peace, security and regional stability in this country. You can drive border to border. He says there's a few influxes, some few spillovers, that's the word he used, from Congo and South Sudan. Then Mr. Museveni continues and paints a picture of how the economy has expanded from 1986 to date, starting at 3 billion in 1986. Now it's close to 45 billion. He talks about how that has been done under the leadership of the National Resistance Movement. Then the exports, they grew by 26%. Some people who have been looking down at us, he talked about the inflation, how the Ugandan currency has been performing. It's in fact the best performing currency over the year of 2024. That is on record, and IMF also confirmed that Uganda is the 7th fastest growing economy in the world. In fact, Mr. Museveni was trying to jubilate on that note, saying, you always say I'm the one who says these things now. It's the IMF who's saying it. He talks about foreign direct investment over the last 12 months. Yeah. Yes, it has grown tremendously, I think by 5%. He talks about domestic revenue mobilization and some of the efforts that they are putting in place to make sure that we gain more money as a country, economic diversification. In fact, when we start talking about these things, it takes rather a bit of time, and President Museveni says we should talk about some of these achievements because we always downplay the achievements and exaggerate the problems that we are having, from an economy that had only 3 C's and 3 T's to an economy that has expanded now. He talks of coffee and copper. And cotton, yes. Then tea, tourism and tobacco. Yes, he talks about manufacturing, and he talks about a lot of things. In fact, the dams that he has done, from when he found 1, there are now 4. There's a lot of good things here. Mr. Museveni is doing rather a tremendous job. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Ochieno. What do you think about these very good statistics?
Great achievements.
Great achievements, as I said.
The achievements are terrible.
No, Museveni's State of the Nation address record in terms of achievements, they're terrible. I start. 1. Currency.
Yeah.
Granted 7th best performing economy, currency.
Yes.
Within 2 years of NRA coming to power, meaning within 2 years, 1987, there was a currency conversion. Yeah. Lest you forget, because I know you were not yet born. So in 1987, 2 years after NRA came, these guys devalued our shilling, which was doing very well. They devalued the shilling and cut off 2 zeros. After they cut off 2 zeros, they took away 30%, what they called tax, windfall tax, tax. Nobody until today, and you're a journalist, and there may be some journalists watching us, trying to establish where the 30% went. So this currency we are talking about today, that is how NRM mutilated it in 1987. So when we also talk about, therefore, the fact that we found this economy at 3 billion US at the time, and today is 45 billion, put that into account. Number two, the US of that time quantified, and I hope there are some economists watching, because I don't know what economics Museveni studied in Dar es Salaam. I still question that. You know, contextualize it to what the 3 billion US was doing at the time in terms of weight, and map it onto today. And then you see how
if
terrible.
If we were to turn the 3 billion, then how much would it be now? That's what you're trying
terrible,
to say.
yes, terrible. 15 times, terrible, number one. Number two, this guy boasts about 66% economic growth, as if it's from heaven. No, it's terrible. The economy in 1966-67 was growing at 66%. You know what? In 1983, we had 29.6% under UPC government, 1983. And these bandits were busy throwing bombs in Kampala and in Luwero. And we're busy rehabilitating the economy. Post-Idi Amin, 29.6. Do the average, regardless, from 1986, what would you have? Trace our economy from 1962 at independence, even with the mess of Idi Amin, and then bring it up to 1985 when Museveni and their friends, dubious friends in DP, overthrew the government. And then you contextualize performance of the economy. Number three, the so-called 3 C's and 3 T's. Because the guy's preaching to Chankwanzi audience, that has been terrorized mentally, psychologically. No, those 3 C's and 3 T's cannot be dismissed.
Nobody has dismissed them.
Okay, I'm giving context.
They have not
Tourism
dismissed them.
Was supposed to...
But isn't it a fact that the economy has expanded?
I am explaining to you. Tourism was supposed to be taking over from coffee, as the number one, forex earner. And look at global economies. Look at the Singapores. Look at many of these global spaces, countries, including that don't have natural resources like oil, like gas and oil and things like that. How they perform. That is how strategic we were. Coffee, as it was at the time, the coffee at the time and the coffee today, what did our coffee do? Our coffee extended rail networks from Soroti, took it to Lira, took it to Gulu, took it to Pakwach, built Pakwach Bridge, and built roads, including Kampala, I think from Masaka to Mbarara to Kabale, tarmacked, roads. And the NRA, not dates, because I'm going to come into that in terms of how much we owe. Borrowed money for these dubious guys who drive down the road. Basically, we say the economy is growing, but you don't know where money is going. Okay? Then go into so-called industries. The shirt I'm putting on is Marks and Spencer's shirt. Marks and Spencer's is among the premier fabric stores in UK, just as it was CNA at the time. We used to export complete finished products, top quality, to Marks and Spencer's, from Nightil in Ginger and from ATM in Bali. From our cotton, finished products, our economy, finished products. Today, where is it? Coffee, the Bugolovi coffee plant, which we needed only to transfer it from there to make sure they're so finished that the packages of coffee that I make.
I want you to dispute what he's saying, because if he is also going to pull let me first finish. If he's going to pull the achievements like you're trying to pull them, I think Mr. Museveni would win, because when you look at the industries that you're talking about, he has done the same. When you talk about the roads, he has done more. What I'm trying to say is that it's not a question of achievements, really. For me, I want you to question what he's saying. Isn't it true?
No, the guy...
That the lifespan by then was 43 years. Now he's at 63. Do you dispute that?
I think Andrew will be very concerned that you pick and choose. The guy gave a State of the Nation address that we pay him for, by the way, and he's been there for 40 years. Museveni has been there for 40 years, uninterrupted. And he's paid hugely. By the way, his family earns $3 billion US every day. Okay? So Well, he came
3
and
billion US dollars.
no,
That's
sorry.
around
Okay,
9 billion.
I beg your pardon. 3 billion Uganda shillings. I beg your pardon. Per day. Which they spend. My money, your money. So he
But he has shown you the things he has done.
That's correct. And I'm saying he gave the State of the Nation address, for heaven's sake. And you're asking me my opinion. And I'm helping to give you a contextual critique.
Yeah, but you're not critiquing what he said. Rather, you are bringing what would have been, or I would call them the lost glories.
At an opportune time, I think I'll help you to go to a research methods class because it would help you contextualize what I'm trying to do. To help Ugandans, I'm helping Ugandans break into pieces Mr. Museveni's so-called State of the Nation address. And that's what I'm trying to do. Now, if you're not getting it, allow me to try and continue with this. I hope some of your other viewers will.
I am getting it.
Yes. So in other words, so that's the context. So the coffee plant we have in Bugolobi, was the second best after one in Brazil. Today we are fighting figures. My point is, there is nothing spectacular in the State of the Nation address, that you would not expect after 40 years. That's what I'm saying. Now you talk about roads. I'm trying to tell you that, well, Museveni found railways and they're dead. Museveni found planes and they're dead. Museveni found buses and they're dead. And Museveni found waterways and they're dead. And Museveni found banks and they're dead. And Museveni found industries and they're dead. Kampala industrial area, is it an industrial area to you? Did you know Jinja was our official industrial center? So I'm giving you context. So no, we can glorify these things, but the fight thing after 40 years. Now, granted, we are not South Sudan, like sometimes they want to present it, and certainly granted, we are not like Libya, But Museveni did not find a foundation like the Bush. He found a functioning Ugandan economy. And by the way,
so what is this fastest growing economy? You try to paint it for me. What do they mean? Does the IMF mean that Uganda is one of the fastest growing?
In terms of figures, yes. In terms of figures, yes, and I don't dispute it. But I'm also trying to tell you that a fast-growing economy does not address the micro issues, including the fact that somebody is dying today.
Let's come back on that
No,
issue.
does it mean that there's no hospital in Loboa? Or does it mean that accidents are happening in Kampala? No, does it mean this means the fact that Kampala is the most...
Do those challenges undermine the achievements that Mr. Museveni has made? But let me first pose you there. Mr. Irumba, what do you make of the State of the Nation?
First of all, my brother, I was very good in English. When you say State of the Nation address, you are meaning our current state
reality,
now.
Yeah.
When you say, give me the state of this studio right now, if you ask me to give you a state of this studio where we are, I would say there are 2 ladies and 3 men. There are 4 black chairs. I will count them. I'm giving, as it is right now, real time state of this studio. When you go to His Excellency the President's State of the Nation address, he's telling you what he did yesteryears and what it was yesteryears compared to what he did yesteryears. Then he's also casting you into the future what he wants to do. We are talking about right now. Tell us what you've done.
And right now he's telling you, I have the best performing currency in Africa right now.
So now,
I have the 7th fastest growing economy in Africa right now. Right now, Irumba has been immunized. He can live up to 63 years. Right now.
If you allow me the gratitude,
please continue.
I categorized his arguments into 5 simple issues: economic growth and public impact. Number 2, aid infrastructure ambitions. Number 3, health, education and reforms. Number 4, public service and corruption. Number 5, security assurance. Number 6, environmental and governance challenges. Those are the 6 I like to critique from his so many pages of Sona. Let's begin with this. Economic growth and the public impact. Uganda's economy grew from 224.9 trillion Uganda shillings, that's US dollar 60.4 billion, marking a 6.7 expansion in financial year 2025-2026. GDP per capita is projected to rise from US dollar 1,259 to US dollar 1,330 next year.
That's upper middle income status.
If you want to know that the country is growing, you don't go by what IMF is telling you from America. Because if you do that, we are going back to colonialism. An American thinks one Sudiru has 100 billion shillings, but in Uganda, when he's calculating how much money Ugandan people have, he wants to get that 100 billion of Dr. Sudiru divided amongst the number of people in Uganda.
Million, yes.
And then he comes and tells you, these people are growing economically.
Yeah.
So if you want to know whether your people are growing economically, first go to the homesteads, each one of them.
Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Sudir is okay. What about Irumba? What is the daily expense for Irumba? Are you getting me?
Yeah, but just to correct you, is that in the census, those results that are being used were got in the census of 2024 by you, boss. They did not use the word
Comrade,
we are not disputing it.
Don't assume me. Me, I don't believe in this stupid census done by these thieves here.
No, it is your census.
Mine. I'm the one who did it.
No, you Uganda.
Those thieves first of all told you that we have not grown an inch. We have been 45 million people and we are still 45. Is that true? You are a journalist. You believe it? That we are still 45 million people.
They said 46.
So the politics in every aspect of our human life in Uganda is changing everything. These UBO statistics are politics being played on your head. The economics they are showing you here in the State of the Nation address, they are looking at where they are, them, not where we are, we all of us. If you want to know the speed of the average Ugandan in terms of running, and you bring Chiptogei, and so Ugandans are very fast. Now, are you saying my mother is also running like Chiptogei? I want us to be analytical. You know, Mr. Ochieno, for me, I think I didn't qualify to live in Uganda. Most times I find problems living with Ugandans here. Because everything thieves tell them, they believe it. Yet they know they're thieves.
A friend from
A thief comes and tells you, no, I stole 1,000 shillings, and you trust him.
How do you debunk?
But then from the 1,000 shillings he tells you he has stolen, he has bought a monster car. So I started by questioning, does a monster car cost 1,000 shillings?
Yes.
That is the first angle that they ask you.
Yeah.
So you said you stole 1,000 shillings, but you've bought a monster car last night. So how much is a monster car? A monster car is 500 million shillings. So where did you get it? So the guy giving him these statistics is purely a politician.
Yeah.
And you have to appreciate him that he's able to lie for 40 years. As young as you are believing him.
Yeah.
So
that is what
evidence because you're a journalist, you work with evidence. What evidence do you then present to debunk some of the things?
What evidence did
For example, when he tells
what evidence?
When IMF tells you that his currency has been performing,
IMF.
in fact, it is ranked on the African continent, not him. And that's the thing he was saying. That you always say these things. Why don't you dispute what the IMF is saying and saying that this currency is actually performing this way?
Where is the headquarters of IMF and World Bank?
San Francisco.
So do you know our history, Pan-African-wise, with the whites? A white man will give you a report based on his interests. You get it?
But you say
not based on your interests.
You also have interests when they are helping, then they become partners. When they are not helping, they become white men.
Where have I welcome?
They become then white men.
Tell me you have been with me. Tell me where I have appreciated the white man that he has helped Africa, other than stealing from Africa. A white man steals $1 billion at night, in the darkness. In the morning he comes with CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, TikTok here, and he says, I am going to donate 100 million worth of boreholes. You cover that, and we say this is a very
Continue
good
with
man.
that list. Continue with
So,
that list.
Number 2, island infrastructure ambitions. Museveni reiterated that commercial oil production starts next year, viewed as a major GDP booster. They are saying, in fact, the SGR, road construction, and so on.
Standard gauge railway.
He's saying this year, 2025, they are going to get the first money from the oil. Yeah? Now, you ask yourself, and he's saying, when we get it, we're going to do this. You ask yourself, have you ever gone to these Kingfisher oil wells? Have you ever tried yourself to go there? As a journalist, I tried to go there. It is being guarded by SFC, not normal police officers. SFC. You get it? They tell you what they want you to consume. But the actual fact is, this crude oil could even have been started leaving this country some years ago. But they tell you...
I could agree with you because I was seeing times, in financial 2023, where we're exporting oil, and I was saying, where is this oil coming from?
So Edgar, when we exported, where did that money go? And was it accounted for in the financial year of that year? Did you hear Kaseja reading it? But we exported. And where did we export? At what price? What was the interest? They tell you are taking for testing.
There we did not know.
So, the politics around every aspect of livelihood in Uganda is the problem. So
Maybe
I don't
you can
agree.
also comment on gold being one of our biggest exports. Gold. I was surprised that we exporting a lot of gold.
I've been investigating.
And it's 99.9.
I've been investigating gold deals in Uganda. Just one of the storekeepers were shot dead the other day. And the one who suspected to have shot them, when he was arrested the other day and taken to military police, Makindi, the general said, you release him.
Oh, that one, yes.
Yeah. Now, he has been saying that we're exporting peace in Congo. No, they're going to steal in Congo.
Yeah.
Where are the gold mines in Uganda that can enable you to be one of the biggest exporters of gold? Where are they?
Your biggest export?
Hey, where? And why are you exporting more than Congo? Yet Congo is the well. My brother.
What are we not seeing?
I've been investigating these oil deals, the gold deals and gold scandals. All of them end at a general's doorstep. At a general's doorstep. In fact, people fear to write about them. But there's a lot if you went in. So, the healthcare, I hear here, broad healthcare modernization. 225 healthcare tools upgraded to healthcare center 3s, plus operationalization of Mulago Super Specialized Hospital and Lubowa Hospital. Can you imagine? They are not ashamed to mention Lubowa. A thief called Pinetti came here and said, I am an investor. I'm going to help you, Uganda. We said, thank you very much. She said, now give me land to put for you a specialized hospital. We said, thank you very much, madam. We gave her Lubowa Hospital. After getting that, she said, now give me money to construct it.
Even this year, you gave him money. You gave her money.
Yes. She's called an investor.
In the budget.
Hey, she's called an investor. An investor who comes with an empty bag like this, she says, put land here. You put. Now she says, put money here for me to build for you a specialized hospital. You put. After putting, now she says, you wait, I will call you. Even when we go to supervise under parliament, they said, don't enter here. They look.
No, but I think Mr. Museveni exonerated her when she said,
okay, very good. Yeah, very good. Pinetti is yours, but the money is ours. Pinetti is yours, the money she's taking is ours. Pinetti is yours.
So do you trust him? Do you trust him?
That's correct, given. But the money is...
As you conclude.
Now, Cedric Babu has died. You are aware? We buried him the other day.
Yes.
Do you know why he died? We didn't have a specialized hospital like Lubowa to transplant his heart. It is Rwanda, our baby, that was groomed from here. A boy who grew up from the refugee camps in Uganda, worked in the intelligence of Uganda. We groomed him, we made him. Then he went to Rwanda. He transformed his country. When Cedric got sick, That's why he had to run. When they failed, a chopper jumped over Uganda. A Ugandan in the chopper from Rwanda jumped over Uganda and dropped in Nairobi because there was no help in Uganda. So he went to Nairobi. They failed to work on it. So they said, you will jump from Nairobi, not back to Uganda, but to India. Yes. Can you imagine how many countries you'll have jumped? Many. And as he was still looking for money, 1.5 billion, they announced him dead. So why did he die? Because Pinetti, the thief, has stolen the money. Cedric wouldn't have died if that hospital was finished yesterday. Cedric from Rwanda would have been referred to Lubowa here. And the heart transplant is done. And he goes back home.
Okay.
So, now when you say you have improved healthcare, you man, have you been to Mulago Hospital?
I have.
Hey, what is there? Bed of roses.
I cannot call it.
Have you visited Health Center 2 and 3 that he's boasting of here? Have you been there? Up country. Health Center 2 and 3. Yeah, let me even give a very clear example. The other day we lost the husband of the whole justice of
Court of Appeal.
What was her statement?
Said it's a monument.
But
is a monument.
Yeah, but what was she complaining about that she could not get from Mulago? And she was in VIP. She could not get a cannula. Yes. to feed. In a VIP section, her husband died because they could not get a cannula to feed him. She died. Now, you're saying you have improved. Very good. Then my question, Muria Gonza is very appreciative of your improvement.
And Muria Gonza,
because she has no husband now.
She has the capacity maybe to have some financial support to be able to maintain. But if she could decry, then what happens to...
So when you are telling us that you have improved...
Let me come back to you.
Improved
let me come to
you. From being a vampire to what?
Let me ask Mr. Ochieno. Then Mr. Museveni is coming back this week to speak to the country again on Thursday, and that is going to be the budget speech. Why should Mr. Museveni come to speak to the nation?
Because it's a ritual. Can you question yourself why you came today putting on a trouser? You must.
Then he is the head of state. Then we have to listen to him.
Because it's a ritual, Edgar.
Let me listen to Ochieno.
You must listen to him because and in fact on that day, it's by UCC mandate. You are a journalist somewhere. UCC says you must put on the State of the Nation address by President. If you don't put on, your license can be cancelled. Are you aware? I hope you are aware. So it's a ritual to say, man, whether you like it or not, you have to put on the man.
He's the head of state.
He is.
Yeah, that's the State of the Nation. So then you ask me why?
The state of Pinetti
is Mr. Museveni's girl, not so?
So he says.
No, he did not say. He said
you
so.
Said he said he's mine. You're the one who said he said he's mine.
Now tell me, instead of Mr. Museveni coming to talk to Ugandans again and wasting people's airtime, why he shouldn't be arrested?
Arrest who?
Mr. Museveni.
Let me leave these studios.
Continue, sir.
No, because Pinetti is effectively a criminal, as you said, isn't it? And this woman has stolen and stolen and stolen. And the guy came and chased them and said, yes, come, do me. Yeah, that is mine. So tell me. And Babu's son has died?
I had the 6 points, but you have allowed me only to analyze.
Yeah, because of time.
Then Babu's son has died. Mlegonja's husband has died. Sudiri's son, although we also give them monies in billions in an unexplained way, has died on the road, and we're talking roads here. And I've told you about the other 6-year-old child in Nagongara who still continues to haunt me, who died at 6 because of cerebral malaria. And those other many people who've died today. So tell me that we shouldn't be arresting these people. Tell me. So that statement was an insult to the people of Uganda, unlike Mr. Irumba said, Comrade Irumba, the Pan-Africanist. If you list Mr. Museveni's thing, and you list what I know we found at independence, and you list what you know that the post-independence government managed to do, that we built health facilities in every sub-country across the country, and we built hospitals across this country, and we equipped them, and we staffed them, and we stocked them, and we enabled them, to the extent that even when the imperialists were working with some dubious conservative chauvinists in Uganda to assassinate Dr. Bote in 1969, the guy was treated here at Mulago. Yeah?
Yes.
And Milton Obote's sons, the top 3, You know, Tony, a fantastic friend of mine, his brother Eddie, the bishop, then the third one, Jimmy, who now dances once in a while with Mr. Museveni. All of them were born here, Ulago Hospital. And you know, for Museveni, we have to airlift him to their grandchildren to go and charter flight to go and give birth in the colonial imperialist Europe, which is imperialist for them when it's convenient. No, there is something criminal happening in this country. And these guys are definitely in charge. No, these guys are coming to laugh at us. No, State of the Nation address should not really, well, Museveni's constitutional people.
Museveni was saying that Mutereza Karuru in some regions organized that vote. So, whereas you're saying these worst things, the man looks like he's gearing up for another term, which according to some of the circumstances we see, feels like he's going to take it easily.
No, it's a formality. It's a formality because, I mean, obviously, if anybody who is a potential threat has got to go to the basement, and anybody who is a potential threat must land Runyankore whether they like it or not, and if anybody is a potential threat must face what what people face in Kawempe, what do we have? People have got to wait for Bwana Jesus. So since Mr. Museveni's daughter allegedly, you know, is religious and does Christ, and I hope she does my Bible. I hope she does has conversation with Jesus, and I hope Jesus listens. And so one of these days, maybe they retire as a family, so that Uganda can begin from somewhere to rebuild a foundation. All of us to build a foundation in reconciliation, you know, and in forgiving and forgetting is very difficult. It's very difficult to get when people's friend, people have heads have been cut off in Ruwero. You know, very difficult. You know, but we forgive and then we reconcile and we build foundation for which people like you, Edgar, and then the fantastic camera lady, and people in your background who are predominantly young Ugandans, able to take up this country. So this country can also grow like Rwanda, but not necessarily in a ruthless way, but it can also grow like Singapore, the way Singapore grew under UPC administration, because we had power then. We did excellent things for this country. And so that it is possible that when it comes to budget speeches, that budget speeches will not show budget deficits that we cannot explain. That budget speeches will not show priorities for defense, which defense is for going to brutalize Congolese, brutalize Sudanese, brutalize Somalis on behalf of Anglo-America, and we claim we are Pan-Africanists. That budget speech will show that there is a sufficient investment in education, investment in health, investment in infrastructure, investment in agriculture, and investment in today in technology, and investment in the environment, and that we prioritize it that way. And so that also investment in security-related services is much more about policing, community policing, and responsible policing, rather than serving an army which is now a personal family army, which army the commander is now the official head of diplomatic relations when it comes to relations with Germany. Yeah,
he expelled them. There is that new roads that should be constructed in this particular new campaign. There is the Uri Road and Bridge. There is 69 kilometers of Katini-Ochero Road, 105 kilometers Kienjojo, Kihura, Bwizi, Rwamwanja, Kahunge, and Mpara, Iganga, Bulope, Kamuli. That's 56 kilometers. 127 Bulamuti, Kamuli Bukungu. Then there are other roads that shall be just maintained here. There is Liantonde, Lumbuga, Rakai. There is Kampala Jinja Highway to be improved. Busunju, Kiboga, Mitiana, Mubende. It looks like
no Nagongera Road.
No, but there is no Nagongera.
Unfortunately, no.
But there are some roads in the eastern part. Let me come to you, Irumba. What do you comment on these plans? But also, this gentleman seems like he is campaigning. He said, Mitiana, Akalumkatereze. And in those areas, if you looked at them, I think there was a bit of inconsistent service delivery. And say, Mutereza Karuru. So this gentleman is gearing up.
Because what his meaning is, his minister, my friend Joseph Ochieno, lost an election to a NUP candidate, Joseph Bagala. You get it?
Yes.
Then there is this Cantagas man,
Zake.
Yes. And most of the district leaders are also opposition people.
Yes.
So there, he believes Akaruru Bakatereze. He believes it. However, the people he's talking to, Right from Mitiana to Mubende, the road is impassable. I passed that road.
Yeah, Vendor is very bad, yes.
Now, the people you're talking to, for the last 40 years, they are going through such an impassable road. But you're telling them, Akaruru Mukatereze. He's not looking at Kutereza's side. He's looking at Mwemwe Tereze. Now, this takes me to the stupid politics of Uganda. Because I have told you time and again that in Uganda and Africa at large, we are not doing politics. We are doing politics. Now, politics is a game. Politics is supposed to be a service to the people. You're supposed to be leading the people. Now, when you find a system that only looks into itself, then that's not politics, that's politics. So, His Excellency the President is leading a government that is looking inward. You get it? They are looking inward, not outward.
What do you mean by inward?
They are selfish in their way of doing things. They are selfish.
Okay.
They don't believe that they owe us. They believe that we owe them. That's why the president comes and tells you, Akaruru Mukatereze. For him, he sees nothing wrong with himself. Why? Yeah. So they believe that we owe them. And at one time also, during one of his speeches, he said, you people are suffering because you sent me an opposition member.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Me, I don't see him. Me, I don't see him. If you're a father of a family, whether yesterday I agreed with you in opinion or not, I still deserve food in that family. I still deserve medical care.
We may disagree.
I still deserve education. You get? And moreover now, in this family called Uganda, even the money I'm asking you to provide me with food and infrastructure is not even yours. You're collecting it from me and him and the other one. Yeah. Because in the family, you would say, Irumba is making his own money. Maybe he's at liberty to give you food or not because it's his money. If he says, I don't have, what will you do? He has not made money. But in this case, even the man I'm saying, please give us a road is mine. The difference is that you have collected it from me. Yeah,
I have entrusted you with my money.
Yeah. So, we must demand for more.
It's been 40 years.
And now for me, I don't believe that Uganda in particular needs, he will forgive me, he's my elder. But I don't believe that Uganda really needs political parties. No, we need the service delivery. Ban all these political parties, including his, give us services. Rule until you die. Because after all, even when they are there, and the time if you are there, you're going to rule till you die. So why should we hate? Just come straight and rule till you die. When you die, put another one. For me, I will be focused. I should know right from childhood that because I was not born in this royal family, I will never be king.
So you're meaning we are not
I will never be king. The people, the British, the British, Mr. Edgar, if you are not born in the royal family, it's outright that you will never be president of that country, Britain. Right from childhood, you know that the only people allowed to lead are those from the royal family. So should it be. So be it.
Okay.
So other than you coming here to confuse me that, by the way, Irumba did not, you can also be a president. So are you sure? Okay, let us participate. Then you break my knees. Then you build more basement. To do what? To curtail me from participating. But yesterday you told me I am free to participate. Now I'm coming to participate without knees. Hey, why don't you remove that provision? Remove it. Okay. First of all, how much do you invest in this?
As you conclude.
How much you invest a lot of money in this foolery. I call it foolery. We spend a lot of time. Somebody like Boboyan has already convinced his family that my wife one time you will be first lady. Yet the system.
No, he's even preparing for
exactly. Yet the system already knows that for you to be the president of Uganda is equivalent to someone writing on water. You can never write on water. It's as hard as that.
So what are these politicians telling?
They should let's be straightforward.
Because we are going in an election,
Yeah.
people are gathering.
We are going to waste hundreds of billions of money. We are going to lose hundreds of lives. We are going to put the country on tension. Right from right now, when we're going to July, August, the country will be on tension. Up to next year, around February. You are going to see more of tear gas canisters being... Right now, the supplier of tear gas canisters is preparing his invoice.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Your parting shots, Mr. Ochieno, Joseph, as we conclude.
No, I really hope that in future that some of these State of the Nation addresses look at people's dailies, and that in these conversations when we come is very much about living wages, is about interest rates, it's about employment, it's about possibilities for us to be able to access basic services like health and education. And I keep repeating those because I think one of the challenges facing the majority of Ugandans is that people don't know that there was better. People don't know that it's actually normal to go to a health facility and be seen by a doctor or a senior medical officer and get prescriptions and go and get drugs and go home.
Yes.
And that, in any case, that is your money. Nobody's doing you a service. I mean, doing you a favor. It happened in my lifetime as a youngster in this country. And people don't expect that it's possible to go to an ordinary St. Joseph's Nagonga Primary School and be amongst the best in the country. I was one of them. And it's to go amongst the best schools in the country. I was amongst them. And to go to Makerere University and study, quote, for free, meaning that your parents don't have to pay that money. I was one of those ones. And to be paid fees, paid money, you know, as student allowances. I was one of them. And to make sure that from there there's a guarantee for jobs. And even then as a university student.
These things once
yes, that even as a university student, you know, when you come from Fort Portal, you know, that you get travel allowance to take you to Fort Portal, whether or not Ugandans spend time with Ochieno in Jinja or not. It happened in my time. And all those are monies that our parents pay through taxation. Our founding parents worked through and made sure they're stocked in terms of savings as a nation state. That ever happened in this country. And I'm saying, that should happen. Today is not happening. And I'm saying, unless the young Ugandans realize that they've been that badly shortchanged, they will not seek to claim. I think Ugandans need to work extremely hard to seek to claim back their country. Not for UPC, not for Ochieno, not for anybody else, and certainly not from Mr. Museveni's family. They've had enough of it for 40 years. Okay. They should be able to claim so for themselves and children's children.
So at least there was a bliss before. And Ugandans should dream.
And Uganda is possible. Okay. A better Uganda is possible, yes.
Mr. Andrew Irumba, your parting shots, sir.
I want to concur with him. I have nothing useful to add. Uganda belongs to the 50 million Ugandans, not the 45 as they are lying to you. We deserve equal treatment. And if you feel that we don't deserve, we should be straightforward. You see, in America, Mr. Edgar, there are two parliaments. For the stupid poor and for the rich ones. In America, they come and tell you there is democracy. Now, if there is democracy, you believe that we are all equal. Why have you created two parliaments? That the poor, you first vote, have three choices, then said to us to pick one. But then you come to Africa and say, no, all of you are equal. A drunkard, stupid man who slept in the bar and in the morning wakes up and goes to the line to vote, his vote is as powerful as me, Irumba, who is sober on the line. That's what they teach you. When they go to America, you have two parliaments. The drunkards can vote, the poor, after voting choose three, then send it to us. We shall choose the sober one. The sober one we choose, we declare. You wait for the white smoke.
Thank you so much. Andrew Irumba and of course Joseph Ochieno, thank you so much for joining us this evening. And of course to our viewer, thank you so much for tuning in. From the time we've started at 7 up to now, at just what, 3 minutes or 2 minutes to the top of the hour. This has been the Hotline Show, and my name is Edgar Mathew Karuhanga, and it is on this note that I would like to inform the country that this is my last episode right here on Digitalk TV. It has been a tremendous couple of years down the road from where we started up to today. So thank you so much for tuning in, and this is my last episode. I will see you again sometime, but somewhere different.
You have ended the show. You have ended the show badly.
Thank you,
I'm
thank you, thank
informing my-
you, thank you for shocking us.
You have shocked
For the
us.
record, we didn't know this, and we've
Yeah,
been
for the record, they did
very
not
best
know,
wishes,
but
young
yeah,
man,
thank
wherever you go and wherever
so
you go.
much.
Yes.
And of course, my viewer, thank you so much.
At the very time I was
learned-
enjoying your hosting, now you're leaving.
Maybe I'll see you again. Irumba. Let me finish my my last remarks. Thank you so much, Uganda. From where we started from up to today, the years I have been with you, I have learned a lot, and of course, I continue to learn. But my journey with you will end today. So thank you so much. My name is Edgar Mathew Karuhanga. I'll see you again somewhere around your TV. See you soon. Good evening, Uganda.
Thank you.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.